Hi guys, Mario here. I just wanted to touch on something here that I talked about in one of my classes with the members there, and I figured I'd share it with everyone here. It's regarding the difference between the squats and the dips for presses and jerks and whatnot. So it might be a review for some of the veterans and a new concept for perhaps some of the newer members. So we'll go and have a look at that. So here goes. All right, so the main subject is initiating the squat versus initiating the dip. To make sure that you're doing both efficiently, so it can be front squat, back squat, overhead squat, any kind of squatting versus a dip for a jerk or a push press or anything like that. You're gonna want to do it right, and if you mix those up, it can lead to some inefficiency in the movement, in extreme cases, injuries in the long term. So we're going to go and have a look at those and just demystify the differences between the two. So here we have our two starting positions. On the left for the squat, it's the only difference mainly between the two setups is the squat, your feet are under the shoulders. So you see the feet here are mostly above where the shoulders are, whereas for the dip, feet are right under the hips, drawn like this. So that's the main difference in the setup, looking at it from the front. So make sure you get that set up right before you get started on either of the movements. So if we look first at how we initiate the squat here, I drew the little guy here doing a front squat just because the bar is in the same spot as the dip there, just to make it a little simpler. But on the right, you're seeing the right way to initiate the squat, which is by starting by pushing the hips back or butt back as we usually cue. And on the right side, the wrong way to do it is just going straight down with just the knees bending. The reason why is because during a squat, you're trying to bring your hip crease below parallel all the way down and then exerting force to bring that weight all the way back up. So you're basically traveling the bar from here down to, let's say, here and then back up, right? So especially at the bottom, you're holding that load all the way through, right? So as you're going down, if you push your hips back to initiate the movement, once you're at the bottom, most of the torque or the load for that movement will be taken by the hips as you're coming back up, right? Whereas very, very little pressure will be on your knees doing that, and the rest of it is just taken by your feet on the ground there. So that's a bit of a structural reason, I guess, biomechanics way of looking at it. Whereas if you're squatting and you're only using your knees to bend and your hips are staying just under your shoulders, once you're at the bottom, a lot of that torque is going to be on your knees, and your hips are just not going to take that much of it. Now, your glutes and your hip area being one of the strongest areas in the body muscle-wise, you can see why this is wrong and this is the right way to do it. All right, now if we look at how to initiate the dip, you'll see that pushing the hips back, as this little dude is doing here on the left, is the wrong way to do it, and this is how you want to do this. And here's why. If you start by pushing your hips back, your back is no longer vertical, right? It's at a bit of an angle. So what happens as you hit the bottom of your dip and come back up, the bar is going to want to tend to go this way instead of straight up. So it's going to go like this, right? And when you're trying to catch a heavy load overhead, especially on a heavy split jerk or a push jerk, you want to have the bar right over your shoulders because that's where you're locking out, right? So if the bar is ever so slightly in the front, it could mean the difference between a failed rep and a successful one. So if we look at this guy here, so he's going to dip straight down and come straight back up, and all the momentum from just flaring the knees a little bit. So if you look at it from the front, you're just flaring the knees slightly. I'm exaggerating here, but it's not a very big dip, just a little bit. Then once you pop back up, all that energy is transferred right in the bar, going straight up to success, right? So if you're doing a push press or a push jerk, that's the way to do it. Just remember to try to imagine your back staying flat as you're going down and up. So it's we'll use some cues as just a straight back, or imagine your back against a wall, or sit straight down, or something like that. So we have lots of tips to fix that. So that's for the dip. All right, so in conclusion, if you just remember these two tips right here. So for the squat, hips back first, then you go down. And for the dip, knees flare. All right, that's all I want you to do. If you do that, you'll be a lot more successful at both of these movements. It'll prevent failed reps and injuries whenever we want to see those. So have fun. We'll see you in class.